Hi, I'm Christine, founder of the 24 Foundation. The reason why I started 24 Foundation was because I'm a rape survivor, and it was one of those things where I had gone to therapy my whole life. It seemed like, this happened to me when I was 16 years old, and I was just telling people exactly what they wanted to hear so they could tell me that I was okay. I would tell therapists everything. They would say, oh yeah, you're moving, you're improving, you're doing all these things, but I hadn't really dealt with it inside. It wasn't until my mentor, Professor Kip Fulbeck at UCSB, gave me the opportunity to just create art. He said, just make something. And that's how I created my film 24. And it's like kind of like a narrative about how I went through the process of the day that I was raped, and it was a date rape situation, and it was the one thing that actually brought me healing. The story existed outside of me, and finally I was free of it. It was really amazing because I didn't even look, the day that I showed the film, I didn't even look at the movie. I looked at the audience and I saw 3 guys crying, and it just was so powerful for me, for somebody else to connect with my story. Every time I showed it at different film festivals, women would come up to me and be like, oh my gosh, I'm a rape survivor, I've never told anybody before, and then they tell me. And I thought to myself, how amazing they feel and empowered they feel to just see me creating art and putting my story up on the screen. How much more empowered would these women be if I gave them the space to create art? And then I, kind of expanded my dream. Like, all these people, everyone, if they had access to expressing their story in an abstract way, they could potentially heal things that they couldn't get out in words. At 24, we believe that creativity is the catalyst for healing the soul, and that nobody is too far from, changing or seeing insight into themselves through art.
They are learning writing, and it's more like a creative writing than it is like grammar and things like that. They are learning, in our group, they're learning we have rap, we have percussion, visual arts as in photography, painting and drawing. We have vocals and acting, which gives us an insight into how we can better them.
I couldn't take in all the pain and hate. It was a long process to help myself blossom and become what I was meant to be. I struggled, I heard, I cried, and through all the pain and struggle, I slowly began to grow. I blossomed from a hopeless seed to a beautiful rose.
We were just doing little acting exercises, and to see how it affects them. At first they don't want to do it, and they're just totally not into it at all. And then later they've just really just allowed themselves to not think about what's going on in their lives, and allow themselves to heal through art. It allowed them to take their minds off of themselves, or even just with that particular acting exercise, they learned how to focus, and it allowed them to focus on something else other than their problems, and they just had fun, and they had a release. And to be able to affect them in that way, to be able to bring that to them is, I don't know, it just does something to you. It makes you feel good about being able to bring art to somebody.
And I had one boy talk about how he had built up so much aggression all week and he didn't know what to do with it, but after playing on the drums for an hour, he felt so much better. So to know that we're teaching him a way to be productive instead of destructive is something that I know is going to change not just them, but the world.
Sometimes on lonely days when my eyeballs wet, I think to myself, man, I'm sick of this mess. I keep on trying and I keep on hoping, keep my head to the sky and my ears open. And that's fine, but sometimes inside I want to kick back, but then they say toe the line. Toe the line. That's fine, discipline is the target. Do you understand? Yes, Sergeant. How one day we'll look up and make moolah, about 3 weeks left.
First week we talked about their past, who they were. The second week we talked about their present, who they are. And this last week we talked about the future of who they want to be. And so within speaking about those things, we'd also let them go in with their different mentors. And so some of them learned how to write, some of them learned how to play percussion, some of them learned how to sing, some of them had never danced before and they learned that. Others wanted to just kind of enhance some of the skills that they'd already had. We did a thing called the free write, and basically we just let the kids write and talk about their experience at the end. And some of them spoke of how they felt like they had purpose, saying, hey, you know, I didn't even know, but I think I'm going to pursue guitar even after Sunburst. So it's those little things that we started to realize they make such a huge difference, not only in like their season of being here, but also in what it might mean for their future.
I am changing. I'm gonna get my life together now. I am changing, yes, I know how. I'm gonna start again. I'm gonna leave my past behind.
Yeah, girl.
I'm gonna change my life. I made a vow that nothing's gonna stop me now.
Nobody is too far from, you know, changing or seeing insight into themselves through art. And so we want to expand as much as possible to reach as many people as possible. We want to eventually move into places where we are working with women and children as battered women shelters and kind of bridging the gap about their experience through art.
These are people just like you and I who are passionate about the art that we do and want to see these kids better their lives. And so we're just coming in, spending time with them, loving on them, teaching them what we do every day. I mean, I don't even think of it as a vocalist. I don't think anymore about like the technique and things like that. And initially when I became a mentor, I thought, you know what, I'm going to come in and teach them stage presence and teach them vocal range and all these things that were very technical. And we would get these free writes back later from the kids, and it would be like, you know, I was so encouraged by Alice, and because of that, I'm going to learn to be more outgoing. And that really took me back, because I thought, here I was there to teach them vocal presence and or vocal range and presentation and things like that. And the thing that they took away was not that at all, but that they're going to have the more courage now to be a little bit more outgoing, because I'm a little crazy. It's just exciting to see and to know that even just our very presence can really have an effect on their life.
I just want to say to all you girls, you have something amazing, and just that shows that's amazing to just come up here and be vulnerable. I mean, yeah.
Just listening to them share their stories with them and share their stories with us, and watching kind of their courage to come out of their shell has been amazing. In some ways, they've it's awesome to watch them open up.
It's just so amazing to see the dancers dance, because they can't just verbalize all the pain and struggle they feel, but they can, express it in, a jump, a this or that. And writers can write it in poetry and maybe not read it out loud, but, have it written. Actresses can tap into a story and it not really be them, but be their story. So it's just, I thought about it and I was like, okay, how can I get more people to experience this? How can I create a space where people feel free to express themselves? And I got this idea to bring a bunch of my artist friends. There were 8 of us in the very beginning, and we just came and we did it. We brought everyone together, and we had 50 girls at this at-risk youth facility called Sunburst, and it was amazing. The healing that came from it, I always said to myself that if there was only one girl that was helped by this situation, this idea of mine, one girl, and that was enough for me. And then to see 50 girls in this process, just writing down their hopes, their dreams for their future, and they're at this precipice of change, was amazing.